Now if I lift up on this, I can see the outer roof. I can see outside. And you notice that when I lift up on it and then drop it, the water comes dripping in. This is where it's clean up at. And I can lift up on the AC. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, sojourners, keep wandering bold. Life's not in riches, but stories retold. Each mile a verse of the song we compose. The journey's the treasure, the path that we chose.
Alright, so it's Sunday, September 7th. So we've had a couple of issues. When we were coming into Dallas, we were hitting some washboard roads, just dirt roads that just, you know, from rain and weather, your truck's bouncing, and it was pretty bad. And we didn't have AC problems until we got to Livingston, Texas, and then one day we came home we went out to eat and came back, and water was just coming out, and we had to clean up and shut down the AC. We didn't know what the problem was. It was late at night, so we figured we'd just go without AC for the rest of the night, and the next day we took a look at it, and we were talking about, okay, do we have to take the entire air conditioner off the roof and all that sort of stuff. And then I noticed that there is a when I was up on the roof, I was looking at it, and I noticed that there was a big gap. I could lift up on the AC, and I could see into the RV from up on the roof. And then the same with down here. When we pushed up, after I took all this off and pushed up, I could see outside. So I noticed that the bolts had come loose. There's 4 basic bolts that hold the main frame of the inside part of the air conditioner to the main part of the air conditioner that's on the roof, and I explained that in one of the videos. And so we had noticed that the bolts had come loose, so I tightened up the bolts, and that solved the problem. Coming down here, we're down here now, and we're out in the middle of an oil field. It's basically almost 30 minutes of rough off-road, dirt road driving, that, you know, it's weathered roads and stuff like that. 30 minutes of that driving off the main road just to get to here, and so bringing in the trailer. And we were having problems either the day before yesterday or yesterday with it dripping. Now, it wasn't dripping as bad as it was when we were in Livingston, but it's still dripping. And when we turn off the air conditioner, all of a sudden we get a backflow of water coming down. You know, I'm not an electrician. I'm not an AC guy. I'm not a mechanic. I'm just kind of can figure some stuff out. And from what little I know, the only place that water is going to come out is that little condensation drip spout that's on the roof. So if water's backflowing, so if water's coming in here, then it's got to be coming from the roof. The only way that I'm thinking that it's going to come from the roof is if there's still a gap. So a couple of days ago, we took the frames off again, and I went to tighten and noticed that the bolts had come a little bit loose. Not quite as bad. I couldn't push up and see outside, but yet I could tell that they weren't quite as tight as I had made them when I was in Livingston. So I tightened those down, and that solved it for a little bit. And we're getting a little bit drips now, not quite as bad as it was a couple of days ago. And that was not quite as bad as it was in Livingston, so it's getting better. But the only other thing I can think of, this is a 2008 trailer. That's the original AC. Only thing I can think of is that the original seal for the AC against the roof, it doesn't really have that sponginess to it anymore. because I've tightened down the bolts so much, and getting down here in the hotter, drier, or hotter, more humid weather or whatever, the seal is probably wearing out. I don't know. So a couple of things we're going to try. One is I got some clear vinyl tubing, and up on the roof I'm going to try and attach it to the drip spout so that water doesn't just drip onto the roof and pool on the roof until it reaches the side drip pan. I don't know what it's called. I'm making up words, but the eaves that's on the side of the roof where water falls in, it runs to the back and drips off. So right now, as it stands, is if there's any AC condensation, it just drips and pools onto the roof until it reaches the side and drips off. So I'm thinking about attaching some clear tubing to the drip spout so that I can route the water to the side and keep it from pooling. Second thing is to lift the AC up a little bit, clean around the hole. There's a big hole here, and the way this is made is there's a hole in the roof, and the AC sets into the hole, and then the inside part comes up and meets with the AC, and then it's all tightened together. So I've got to take all this off, got to loosen the 4 main bolts and free it from the AC so that when I go up on the roof, I can lift up the AC, clean around the outer edges of the hole, put down some butyl tape, put the clear tubing on the drip spout, and drop the AC back onto the hole, and come back in and put this all back together, and then crank up the AC and see if we get any more problems. That's the next step. I got to do some more research, but as far as I know, that's the only place that, unless there's a problem with where the water condensation comes to the spout, unless there's other places where it can pool up inside the AC and come other places, I'll have to look at that when I lift up the AC. But we need AC out here because it's hot. Good thing is we're moving into winter, so we're going to need it less and less, but right now we still need it, and so that's where we're at. So I got to remove the filter. When we had originally bought this, these filters were so deteriorated. I think it was original filters, these 2 outer edges. So we just bought a roll of filter material, cut it to size, and set it in there. So I removed that. Now next, there's these 4 bolts here with springs on them that hold the shroud to the main inside frame here. And then this tape that seals around the edge. I gotta remove the tape from here. 4 more bolts. Hold the plastic shroud. Okay. All right, so these 4 bolts right here hold this inside portion to the main outer portion of the AC on the roof. So in order to lift up on the AC on the roof, I've got to remove these 4 bolts. I know I should use a screw gun for this and make it a whole lot faster. I know that's what some people are thinking. Man, just use a screw gun. I'll probably do that when I go to put them back up. Yeah, I'm definitely going to use a screw gun. I didn't know the bolts were this long. Had I known they were this long, I would have brought in a screw gun. Okay. We'll put it, now, if I lift up on this, I can see the outer roof. I can see outside. And you notice that when I lift up on it and then drop it, the water comes dripping in. So I know it's coming from the outer edges around the seal out there. And I can shift the out AC unit there. Alright, so I got it, put down some more towels because more is coming out from the outside. It looks like where it pooled up around where the seal is. And the inside, it's going to be dripping a little bit, and it's probably going to be dripping more when I'm up on the roof and I go to lift up on the AC. I loosened it. That's the whole point of what I was doing in here, because I wouldn't be able to lift up on the AC without removing all of this. All right, this is probably not going to be heard, so I might have to be doing a voiceover. But the next step is to remove the shroud from the AC, lift up on the AC, see if I can find that drip spout, and this is the drip line. All it is a 3/8 inch inside diameter clear vinyl tubing. It may or may not be big enough. If it's not, then I'll just take a cup of water and nuke it and very hot and set the end into the water for about a minute, and it should make the plastic pliable enough to stick onto the drip spout. But right now I'm going to remove the 4 bolts that hold the shroud together. The shroud is in 2 pieces, so I have to kind of pry the 2 halves away from each other. So now I'm going to try and pry the 2 halves away from each other. Where the seam is. This RV needs a good bath. I think when we're done with this job, we'll probably have to find an RV wash place or something, or a large car wash. So I can see where the water's pooling right here. I can see all that. The back fins look pretty good. There's no dirt on them. The left side, looks dry. It's the right here that looks a little wet. It's dirty, which means that this is where it's pooling up at. And I can lift up here on the AC here. Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is what it looks like. I'm using some yellow wheel chucks to kind of keep this AC propped up, but it looks pretty bad. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of scrape this mud away. So I'm using this plastic scraper that we use to remove the sealant from the roof. Denatured. It's about 200 proof denatured alcohol. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to flip it on the other edge. I'm going to scrape that mud away. There's two. Looks like there's two drip spouts here. I'm trying to see how easy it might be to get at this drip spout here. Let's get this off. Okay. Let's see what I can do with this. Yeah, I know. It's not gonna work. I don't want to drill out the hole. If I'm going to end up pinching the tube when I lay it down, so I think I'm going to have to go with, after I put the AC down, some flashing underneath and try to have the drip spout and have the water fall on the flashing and go to the eaves. But put one on each side. Okay. So next, I'm just gonna wipe around the edge here where I'm gonna put the butyl tape. And this is the butyl tape. So the idea is to put it down along the edge Okay, I gotta make sure that I put this back on. I think I got everything sealed up on the roof, so it's a matter of putting all this back together. And at least get this threaded back on. It's hoping it'll work. Don't let it shift, just push hard. Okay, now we're down to the final. Here, Okay, so now we're on the final spot, and we're gonna see if any of that helped. Okay. Okay. So now I'm gonna flip the AC breaker. Okay, I just flipped the AC breaker. And so what we're going to hope, because I can't do the drip line, is that cleaning all that gunk out and cleaning off the seal and putting some new butyl tape seal on there and then retightening it down, that's going to work. So we'll see what happens. And this is what we want to see. Not sure if it's capturing it, but the condensation dripping. That's what it's supposed to look like. Right there you see the condensation running off to the edge, cooling down this way, and then dripping into the eaves. That's what it's supposed to be doing. That's what it has not been doing. So it looks like the new seals helped.
Oh, sojourners, keep wandering bold. Life's not in riches, but stories retold. Each mile a verse of the song we compose. The journey's the treasure, the path that we chose. The treasure, the path that we chose.